and Young Adult Podcast.
Welcome to podcast 163. And we are back, but it has been a struggle this week at the church.
Yes, it has.
And before we get into the struggle, let's introduce ourselves, which we are routinely very bad at.
Very, very bad at.
Oh my gosh, my name's Pastor Lucas.
And I'm Pastor Aaron.
We work at Cornerstone Church in Highland, Michigan.
That's
I'm the
right.
executive pastor here at the church.
I'm the youth pastor.
And we've been on staff here for a number of years. But we started this podcast, believe it or not, in 2019.
That's crazy.
And then it was off to a slow start.
Yeah.
Then COVID hit and it got even slower.
Yep.
And then we resurrected it after things started normalizing a little bit. And we've been consistent for a number of years now. But it's been great to be with you today so far. You can find our podcast on Apple, Spotify. You can watch us on YouTube.
That's right.
And I think that I listen to Apple Podcasts the most.
Yeah,
that's my go-to place.
Same.
So, and do you go back and listen to all the podcasts?
I do. I listen. Not every one of them, but yeah, I listen to most of our podcasts.
I'm the exact same way. Not every one of them, but I listen to most of them.
Yep.
And it has been a wild week at church.
Yeah, it's been crazy here this week.
It's been frantic.
Oh yeah. I mean, power outages, Wi-Fi gone, fire alarms just going on and on and on and on and on.
Yeah, so actually there's a little bit of worry right now as we record this podcast that the fire alarm will start going off.
Yeah, because the problem's not fixed. So if all of a sudden the fire alarm starts going off, we don't know what we're going to do yet, but just it might happen.
Yeah, we either just keep it in there and let you guys enjoy the terrible noise.
High-pitched screech.
Yeah, or we'll edit it out. Either way, not happy about either of those options right now.
Yeah.
So, but the Detroit Tigers are unbelievable.
They're shocking me right now.
I know. They won again last night.
They did.
And honestly, it felt like maybe a game that they should have lost.
I agree. So I was hanging out with my dad yesterday. We were recording this on a Wednesday, which is abnormal for us because
well, we couldn't record yesterday because all the Wi-Fi being down and the fire alarms.
Power's flickering and yeah. So anyway, we're recording this on a Wednesday. So it was Tuesday night. I was hanging out with my dad and he said, "Hey, what's the score on the Tigers game?" And I pulled it up the game, I was listening to it. I was like, they're losing 2-0. It's like a third or fourth inning. I was like, he's like, oh man. He's like, yeah, Tampa Bay's a good team.
Yeah, they're a good team.
You know, they're not a bad team. Tampa Bay's really good. And he's like, it feels like they're going to lose this one. And then we just kind of, I was like, 1-2.
Yeah.
2-2.
2-2. Here we go.
4-2. Let's go, baby. I was like, this is amazing.
I know. Man, they're unbelievable. It's been fun.
It has been fun. I haven't had this much fun listening to the Detroit Tigers, watching the Detroit Tigers probably ever in my life.
Yeah.
I mean, in 2006, when they went to the World Series, I was 8 and I didn't really know that much. Like, I love the Tigers. And so that was super fun as an 8-year-old, like watching my team go to the World Series. But yeah, that's been about it. And it's a lot different being a sports fan when you're 8 and when you're 27.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, it's been awesome though. I've been loving it.
Me too. Great team. Keep going. Win the World Series. Let's go.
Let's do it.
I want to introduce our topic today for the podcast that we'll be hanging on here for the rest of the podcast on. Mm-hmm. And I want to talk about a kind of a danger in ministry and what else? Personal life.
Yeah. I would say life.
There's a danger.
School, marriage, career.
Yeah.
Pretty much anything where you're working at something.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have fallen into this trap. And it took my joy out of my life. It kind of took my little bit of my soul away, and so to speak, I guess you could say. But this is a ministry trap and a personal trap. I think we can call it the trap of comparison.
Yeah.
And also that will inevitably lead to kind of monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say it'll lead to that mimicking trap where, they're doing it, they're having success, I'll do it, should get success. And it's, you begin to lack authenticity because of that.
Yes. Now, one of the reasons that we initially, I think, begin to maybe look at another ministry and to mimic that ministry and compare our ministry to that other, church, I think it initially stems from insecurities as a leader.
Yeah.
And decision hesitancy.
Yeah.
That you're thinking to yourself, I have a thought of a message, but I feel like it's weak and lame.
Yeah, right.
And I'm doubting myself.
Yeah.
What has Craig Rochelle done lately? Right?
Right.
That's just a funny name we put out. I've never mimicked a Craig Rochelle message before myself, but boy, he's just a great leader. His church is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm sure many people have thought to themselves, what's Craig doing?
Yeah.
What's the latest series Craig's been doing? I'm going to do that. And that's because we feel insecure about our ministry series that we're planning.
Yeah.
Now, have you ever felt this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So what do you do? Because I can share what I do, but what do you do to kind of fight that and think to yourself, no, this is good enough idea, or what do you do?
Yeah, all right. So you might laugh at this, but the first thing, because especially when the first 2 years or so, probably at least, of when I was full-time youth pastor here, I really struggled with this comparison to youth ministries that were, huge churches doing amazing things.
So what were some that you...
Elevation Youth was one. And this is one of the things I do. I literally had to unfollow Elevation Youth on Instagram.
Well, is that just because you simply were kind of getting obsessed and it was unhealthy?
I was scrolling and I would see their stuff. And at first I was like, oh, that's so cool. I literally started to get so insecure, I guess. I was like, should I be doing this? Should I can't have that many students. Our stuff doesn't look like this. Should I be? And I just got so insecure. I unfollowed them on Instagram.
Okay.
And stopped, I unsubscribed from their YouTube channel because they had, especially during COVID, they had an amazing YouTube ministry going on with tons of videos and stuff. And at first I was like, oh, let me just kind of see how they're doing stuff. I was brand new to doing any video thing. So I was just kind of trying to get some inspiration, but it changed from trying to get some inspiration to let me recreate this video. You know what I'm saying?
Just monkey see, monkey do, and, imitation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's something that I started to do.
It got unhealthy.
It definitely got unhealthy, really unhealthy. And then one of the things that I feel like I can do now that really helps me is actually going to my wife and being like, hey, I have this idea for a sermon, or that's kind of what we're talking about. For me, that's obviously that's part of our jobs. But I really want to make sure that this is from the Lord. I have a couple ideas, and I'll just kind of talk them out with her. And she has, I think, really that spiritual gift of discernment. And so she's kind of like my she's not going to be a soundboard or echo chamber where she'll just tell me something back. I know I can get her honest opinion. I know that she'll be like, hey, I really feel like this is something that you should run with, that this is what the students need to hear about, not this.
Wives are good. Given the not being an echo chamber.
Yeah.
Really giving it to us straight.
Yeah. So she's really helped me with that because
that's awesome.
Because I really, really value her opinion about that stuff too. So that's something that that helps me get away. Even recently, this is funny, but recently I had Pastor Tim asked me to preach in the Maine coming up in a little bit.
He did.
And it's just a super big honor for me. And that's obviously not something that I do a lot. And so I was talking with my wife and I said, hey, I feel like the Lord really spoke to me out of this passage And I wrote a really short message for our middle schoolers out of it, but I feel like there's a lot more there. I didn't know what I was going to use it on, but maybe I could use this. And I said, or I read this book, and it was this great book, and I could easily pull a sermon, make a sermon out of this book that I read. And she was like, no, you should probably go with the passage that the Lord has been speaking to you about, because it's in you right now. Like, God was speaking to you for a reason, more than just that 15-minute message to the middle schoolers. You should study that out more. You should get into that. And, that was the option that was going to require more hard work.
Sure, yeah.
But at the same time, I was like, you know what, that's the right thing to do.
Yeah. I've found in my life, for myself personally, and I have also found this to be true when I ask other leaders and pastors this very question that I'm asking you, is that instead of saying, Jesus, what do you think, or what do you say about this? Mm-hmm. You just go, what does Craig Rochelle say?
Yeah.
What does Brian Houston say? What does Jensen Franklin say? What's so-and-so saying? And you stop tuning your ear into the still small voice of God.
Yeah.
And instead, you tune your ear to the ministries.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if it's working for them, then it's going to work for me too.
Yeah.
And you actually begin to lose the sensitivity, I believe, to God's voice.
Yeah.
And for me personally, how I worked my way out of this is that I remember writing a message that I felt really wasn't very good.
Okay.
Now, it was a message that however you get a message, it can come from all sorts of different ways. You can get inspired from scripture. You can get inspired from conversations. Mm-hmm. You can get inspired from prayer time, books, but like you get that, that feeling you get as a preacher when you feel like this, there's something more here.
Yeah.
And I need to study this out more.
Yeah.
I need to write out this. I need to begin to write out this stuff, and stuff starts flowing. Starts flowing. You get this like flow. And I wrote this message out. I mean, this is early on as a leader here at the church. And I was like, is this going to work? Is this going to speak to people? Like, it's speaking to me? Is this going to, man? And I had all these doubts and all these insecurities, and I wanted to scrap it, and I wanted to just start over.
Yeah.
And I told myself, the only way to figure this out, if this is going to work, is I have to preach it.
Yeah.
Did I hear from the Lord?
Right.
I have to preach it to find out. Mm-hmm. And the good news is that I preached this message that I was insecure about, and I doubted.
Yeah.
It went really well.
Come on.
Like, really well. I felt so anointed delivering the message. As I preached it, more came out of me than I even wrote down. Does that happen to you a lot?
Yeah.
Where more comes out, and more started coming out of me. I mean, I gave the altar call. There was an incredible response. I had great feedback after the message was over. I felt more like myself as I preached it.
Yeah.
And that gave me confidence.
Yeah. Come on.
That gave me just like tremendous confidence to say, next time when I sit down, I'm going to redo that.
Yeah.
I want to redo that whole thing again. Even though I felt insecure, I'm way more confident now. I'm going to redo that. So redo that process. Preach it again. I know I'm hearing from the Lord.
Yeah.
Redo that process. Preach again. I know I'm hearing from the Lord. And it's not like this, like, you're never going to feel insecure ever again. But it's this sense of, I know when to tell the enemy to be quiet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm just going to preach this.
That's good. Because I mean, like, I've been on staff full-time for 5 years, part-time included for about 7 years now. And do I still get insecure sometimes before I'm about to preach? Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, why did I write this out like this? Oh my gosh, this feels so dumb.
Yeah.
I feel like this is like so lame.
There's been times where I've been on stage reading my point, and I'm like, why did I write it like that?
Yeah.
And like I'm literally preaching the message, reading the points, and I'm like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
As I'm preaching it, like sometimes that happens.
I know. But man, there's something plasticky about just preaching somebody else's message.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there definitely is.
You know, it feels inauthentic. It feels fake.
Yeah.
You know, it was funny. We were at this coffee shop in Holly.
Okay.
This was this summer, and it's right in the Battle Alley area. I forget the name of the coffee shop.
Okay. There's a couple there.
It's like a knick-knack place too. So there is not just coffee. It's just like.
Is it the Battle Alley coffee shop?
I think so.
Yeah, that's a great place.
I know. And they had on this display plastic food that looked real.
Yeah. Okay.
And at first, for a quick second, it fooled me. I was like, why is ham rolled up on this plate right here? It's just so random. I was like, oh, that's plastic ham. And I thought it'd be funny if I tried to trick my daughter.
Yeah.
And so I said, Charlie, would you like a bite of some ham? And she goes, yeah. And she grabbed it from me and she went to take she put it in her mouth. And she's like, looked at me like, what is this? And it was plastic.
Yeah.
And it was fake. And I feel like sometimes when you just kind of like mimic somebody else's event, message, series even.
Yeah.
It has a bit of this, it looks real from a distance, but as you get closer and it's not quite there. It's not quite the real thing. And I found this to be true too, Pastor Aaron, and tell me if you think this is true as well, that after repeating or like rinse and repeat somebody else's thoughts or ideas, it might have been successful somewhat.
Yeah.
Maybe, you preached somebody else's word and it had a good response, but I feel like there was a piece of joy missing in the journey.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. And I feel like when you do that, and I'm not saying that taking, like we were talking about somebody else's message, but sometimes like you can read a book or, something, and somebody has some great commentary on some passages you've never thought about, and you can get some ideas from that. But when you're just kind of taking somebody's, copy paste, and you're running with it, it really does lack, at least for me, it really does lack that little bit of joy.
Yeah, a spark of joy is gone.
Yeah. And I think, so me and you were talking about this especially, in pastor lingo, because that's our jobs.
Yeah.
But you can take this same concept that we're talking about, and you can see it play out in your marriage, at your workplace, in your friends, with your school. If you are just... talking to all the high schoolers out there, if you're trying so badly to just fit in and you are comparing your life to somebody else's and you just try to copy paste somebody else's clothing style, the way they talk, their grades, the sports they play, the music they listen to,
everything. Just, you're inauthentic.
You'll be inauthentic. You won't have that spark of joy in your life, and it will really... It'll have that plasticky feel.
Yep.
People will be able to tell this is not real the closer they get to you.
There's another area of my life where I struggle with comparing myself.
Okay.
And that's at the gym.
Okay. Yeah.
That I'm at the gym and there is always somebody there who is bigger muscles.
Oh, yeah.
Way better shape.
Yeah.
They seem to just... they're way further along.
Yeah. They're bigger, stronger, faster.
Yeah. And you can tell, you can just take long to even figure it out. They're bigger, faster, stronger. And I'm thinking, I start to so like, why did I start going to the gym? Like, I feel like my personal decision of why I decided to go to the gym. I start to lose that.
Yeah.
And instead, I'm chasing now this figure.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, my joy for the gym just plummets.
Yeah.
Because every time I see them, I'm a little bit more depressed. Because I'm chasing this ghost in the gym that doesn't know I'm chasing him. But my motivation now to go to the gym is terrible.
Yeah.
And I'll start to get depressed.
Yeah.
Now, my original motivation for the gym was just a personal goal.
Yeah.
I had a personal goals for myself. Maybe I had a bad knee. I'm trying to rehab. A bad back. I'm trying to get strong.
Yeah.
Whatever it might be. You know, maybe I do want to lose 10 pounds because I feel better at a lower weight. But my personal goals are very motivating.
Yeah.
I find inspiration from my personal goals. And I find myself completely uninspired when I start chasing the ghost.
Yeah, yeah.
And life has a way of doing that. That's I feel that too. That's just another area of my life where I have to be very careful.
Yeah.
That I'm not going to the gym to look like that person.
Yeah.
But instead, I'm going to the gym for these other personal reasons.
Yeah. You know what's funny about going to the gym too? Same exact thing. But usually that person is like, at least for me, it's like the really strong looking guys.
Like real strong.
Like I'm talking.
Okay.
And I'm like, I don't even have like the body type to be able to lift the kind of weight that they're lifting.
Yeah, you're just a completely different animal, really.
Yeah. I'll like see them like on the bench, and I mean they just got the thing loaded up with 45s now, and I'll just like be like, oh my gosh, dude, this guy is a freak.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't even think my body could ever get to the point where I could lift that much weight. Unless it was my job just to work out, maybe then. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not even created the same way as them.
Yeah.
But still, like, I'll get sucked into like, maybe I should change the way that I'm working out. I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah.
My goal for getting in the gym was never that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. And you lose the joy of the gym.
Yeah.
Where there once was joy, then the joy is gone. And now it can happen in your marriage. You start comparing. You compare your spouse to somebody else's spouse. That's a terrifying road.
Terrible.
To go down. Your children, you maybe start comparing your children to other people's children.
Yeah.
Forget it. That's you'll turn into a terrible father.
Yeah, man.
And ministry, same thing. Same thing with ministry. You want to lose your joy in the ministry? Just compare your ministry to somebody else.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, yeah. 100%. It's so bad.
And you might think to yourself, you're going to lose your joy because you'll never be able to reach that point of success. That'll kill your joy. But you know what else might kill your joy too? To look at other ministries and say, whoo, we're better than them.
Right. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Now, that's not why I'm a pastor, to compete with the church down the street. There's a... I don't know, I guess doing some studying this morning. There's a guy I love to watch on YouTube. He's not a pastor or anything like that. He's an author, and he does a really cool thing where he'll break down each of his chapters a little bit more. Okay. And so obviously his books are full of stories and lessons, and he goes even further.
Okay, cool.
And explains more behind the scenes. Like, I love to watch him. And he says right now that there is what does he call it? Kind of a scary thing happening within with churches right now. Okay. He goes, it's called the competition of love, where each church is competing to love people more. Okay. Come to our church. We're more kind. Right. Yeah. So I've comparing myself to the church down the street, and I've come to the conclusion that we're better. Yeah.
We're more kind. We're more friendly.
Yeah, we're the friendliest church. We're the kindest church. We're more loving than the church down the street. You've got a problem. Our church is better equipped to handle you and counsel you. Right. And he goes, it's a bad thing right now in churches. And I thought to myself, I had never heard anybody say this before, but it's so true. I've done this myself. Right. Hey, oh man, we're way better at loving people than that church down the street. Right. Oh man. Or just doesn't matter to me. He goes, it's the competition of love. And he says that the worst churches in America right now are those who are saying, we love everyone. Okay. Yeah. that we'll never judge you for your lifestyle, your choices, and who you are. Come on in here, no judgment. We're going to love you the best.
Yeah.
And he goes, and that's the end. That's actually a tactic of the devil.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that really reminds me of, I don't even know who wrote this article, but do you remember maybe a year ago, Pastor Tim had us read a really interesting, it was kind of a long article from a pastor in the Seattle area that had fallen into this exact category.
Yes.
And he was doing this with his church. And so one day God kind of got a hold of him and he realized this is not how God's church is supposed to look.
Yeah.
And he had to totally change the culture of his entire church. And it took him years to get it through that season that he had led them into.
Yeah. Yep.
And but luckily he realized and said, man, this is not how God has called us to pastor. Mm-hmm. But he had lived and really led his church right down that path.
If you want great joy in your personal life and in your ministry, then you got to constantly ask yourself this question. What would Jesus do? Or you could just rephrase it like, is this what you want me to do, Jesus?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Now, you've got to get in the Lord's will for your life. You got to find the path for your life. Mm-hmm. And thank God that it's not going to look like anything else.
Yeah.
That you're going to blaze a different kind of trail.
Yeah.
And you're going to do something different. I've talked about this before, and we can end the podcast with this, but I've talked about this before, Pastor Aaron, that the churches that are kind of the leading churches in America, they blaze the trail, so to speak. They've never done this before, and it's successful. And why didn't I think of it? You know, the truth behind all that, they're blazing the trail. The truth behind all that is that the only reason they're blazing that trail is because they have no other options, and they're not happy.
Yeah.
Now, most people don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you ask a pastor or a leader, like, why did you decide to do church this way?
Right.
And he's like, we had no choice when we were renting the building. They wouldn't let us touch that or turn on this or
right. Yeah.
do that thing. And so we were stuck here. And the what people don't realize is that it's not cutting edge. It frustrates the heck out of me.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
He goes, but it worked, and now people think we're like some sort of geniuses. But the reality is I hate it.
Yeah.
Now, seriously, if you kind of pull the veil back and try to figure out, why'd you decide to do it that way? You're such a trailblazer. Well, we had no other options.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the story from Brian Houston, who, I don't know, you can have your opinions about Brian Houston if you want. But he said they had a church in the city of Sydney.
Yeah.
And he goes, we got into trouble with too much volume and noise coming out of our church building on a Sunday morning. Okay. Because the apartments were so close to the building because it's city living.
Yeah.
We had so many noise complaints that we had to completely change our worship. And the guy's like, well, he goes, let me share this. He goes, our city campus got famous for acoustic worship accompanied with stringed instruments.
Yeah.
And he goes, I hated it. He goes, because we could not pull out the drum set.
Yeah.
And we could not pull out the electric guitar, and we could not turn the volume up because of the noise complaints.
That's crazy.
So instead, we were forced to do stringed instruments, acoustics, and bongos and djembes.
Yeah.
And I hated it. And he goes, and the funniest thing happened. That church started to grow because of the worship.
Yeah.
And the exact opposite happened, which was that other churches started mimicking this when I thought it was going to ruin us.
Right.
And he goes, it became so popular, he said, that it started to pop up on our live albums. Cellos started, because you see the cellos on the stage and the violins.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he goes, and that's never something I ever envisioned. And he goes, and then it took us about 2 years, but we finally soundproofed the building. Yeah. And he says it was extremely expensive. And we made this big announcement. Hey, we're going to be able to do normal worship now. And he says there were so many complaints. He goes that we actually kept the one service. Yeah. Always has the acoustic style worship. Because people loved it so much.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And so when you really pull the curtain back and reveal Oz, so to speak,
Yeah.
you find out that it's just a guy who's trying to survive.
Yeah.
You know, and he does not have all the answers.
Yeah.
And he's not the genius you think he is.
Right.
And if we really truly understood that, I think, Pastor Aaron, we would not put these people on such a pedestal.
Yeah.
But we would say, what does God want me to do?
Yeah. Come on.
What resources do I have in my hand?
Yeah.
What can I do with this?
Yeah.
And you will probably be successful if you just lean into that.
I love that. I love that. It's exactly what God asked Moses. What do you have in your hand? He said, I just got a staff. It's like, all right, that's good enough. Throw it on the ground. See what happens.
Wow. Yeah. So what do you got in your hand? And use it and see what God will do.
Come on.
And he'll do great things. I promise. He will.
Absolutely.
He really will. All right. It's been great to meet you, audience.
It's been good. I like this one.
Now, how do you describe this one?
Ooh, this was this was a hardy one.
Ooh,
You
hardy,
know,
huh?
This was let's see. This was kind of like a big hamburger.
Ooh.
You know,
Ooh, like a double?
double stack, smash patties.
Yeah.
On that flat top grill.
Heavy.
It's good. Yeah. Yeah.
Filling.
Oh yeah.
Good. Ooh, delicious.
There you go.
I'm
That's what it's
actually
like.
really hungry right now. Sounds delicious. Oh, it's been great to be with you, audience.
See you guys.
Catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Youth and Young Adult Podcast. Youth and Young Adult Podcast. Youth and Young Adult Podcast.